back to Carson Tate's video log. Today I'd like to talk to you about editing. Not from the editor's perspective, but from the writer's perspective, which is entirely different, as you might imagine. I'm working on the edits for novel number 5. I just received the manuscript back from my editor, and as you can imagine, there are some notes in the margins. And learning to edit from a writer's perspective is definitely comes with sort of growing pains. And from novel number 1 to this is novel number 5, I like to think that the process is less painful. So I'm going to share with you a little of what I've learned along the way. Come with me now. So, talking about editing, today I received the edits for my next manuscript that's coming out in July. It's called The Best Defense. And if I can get my mouse to work, I'll scroll down for you and see if we can find some red. Oh yeah, there's some red. More red. Red. And so, promise you there's a lot of that in the manuscript. And so I have some choices. I can go up and accept the changes, reject the changes, or I can just press this little button that says accept all changes in document, and then I can just accept everything my editor said was the right thing to do and be done with it. Correct? Think that's the right thing to do? So, as easy as it might be to accept all changes, I highly recommend against it. Do not accept all changes. I know a lot of them are just commas and misspelled words, and your life will be easier if you just get them all out of the way and get to the nitty-gritty substantive stuff. But the problem is, well, problem with me anyway, is I have a hard time remembering all those rules when someone just says them to me. You know, put a comma here, I before E, apostrophes, all that kind of stuff. The only way to really learn it is to actually do it and use it. So you need to go through every single change and actually look at it and figure out, you know, what did I do wrong here? I promise you, if you actually spend the time doing it, it'll be so painful you won't want to do it again. You won't make the same mistake again. So go through every change. That's my first run through on the manuscript. I go through and I deal with all those things that can be changed fairly quickly and easily, but I make sure I give them the time and attention they deserve, because they do deserve your time and attention, or they're going to come back to bite you every time. And it's really going to make your editor annoyed. First time, not so much. Second time, third time. Fifth time, ooh, don't go there. Oh, hi. Sorry. So the other thing about editing, yes, that's it. Take your manuscript with you everywhere. Read it like it's a real book that's already published and has, you know, like super duper cover. I carry it with me everywhere. I take it to work, I take it to bed, I don't read in the car, that's dangerous. But I take it everywhere. I read it a couple of times over so I can catch the whole flow of it again. You've had some distance from it now, it's time to give it a look again, as if it's a real book from the reader's perspective. So before you make any other changes, read the book. So the bottom line is this. You may know your story better than anyone else, but until you get it back from the editor, you're not going to know how it looks to a very critical eye, which might be a reader out there. So, what I do, what I've learned through my agonizing over this process, I used to sit down and I'd open the manuscript and I'd just start making changes. Here, right and left, and right and left, and then I'd read some more and I'm like, oh, that change now doesn't work based on what I've seen that I need to do here. So, I spend a week with a manuscript. I read it a couple of times. I look at all the things my editor has to say. I may flag places in the manuscript where I plan on making changes, adding things, taking things away, but I don't do any of that yet. I let it gel for a week. I may pepper in some other things. I may look at Done with Editing, perhaps. Excellent book on editing and the finer points. And then I also often consult this book. It's called Don't Murder Your Mystery. It's by Chris Rerden. Sorry. It's Rerden, and I apologize for my sloppy pronunciation. It's an excellent book. It has some great perspective on character, plot development, point of view. So I take the finer points of editing, I take the structural points of editing, I take everything my editor said, and I take my perspective on having not seen the manuscript for a while, but reading it a couple more times, let all that gel and rock around in my head for a week, and then I approach the rewriting process. And I promise you, when I do that, for me, it's a lot less painful than if I just go tearing at it and hacking away like a wily beast. So I hope some of the things that I've mentioned will help in your editing process, but I'm always interested to hear new perspectives, so feel free to write to me at carson@carsontate.com, and I hope you enjoyed this installment of Growing Pains, Carson Tate's video log, Jaw Edition, signing out.